going to talk about the Colombian-Nicaragua lawsuit. For a legal problem, legal solution. We are afraid to go fishing with our Nicaraguan boats. We are suffering. The situation is difficult in Green Moon because the Nicaraguan guards arrived and now they take away the belongings, steal the lobster or fish, and that is serious. They come at night, embark our ships, and rob all we have. Can you guess who said this? Well, he was Uriah Steele, fishing since he was a child. The last 19th of November of 2012, the International Court of Justice granted to Nicaragua a sea area of 12 miles. Of course, the Serrana and Quitasueño Islets belongs to Colombia, but the sea area between these islets, where Uriah Steele and another 700 fishers have worked, now belongs to Nicaragua. As you can see, the yellow line represents the situation before the decision. Now, after the decision, we lose this red part of the map. Unfortunately, this decision has some consequences, really, really bad consequences. First, the 70% of the fish production of San Andres and Providencia Islands depends on the Quitasueño resources. Second, the Colombian commercial aviation will be affected because the fees or the prices of the airfares will be increased. That's because if you want to go to San Andres, you need to pass through Nicaraguan space. So the companies need to pay some other taxes. The third one is that Colombia loses some 50 different coral species that now belongs to Nicaragua. You need to take into account that this decision is an obligatory decision. Some famous politician says, okay, the solution is simple, disobey the court decision. What do you think about this option? Well, if you don't know anything about international law, I can tell you, it's a really, really bad decision. That's because the International Court of Justice is the highest court of the United Nations. So if we disobey the court decision, the United Nations will impose some economical and political penalties that are worse than the observance of the decision itself. So what can we do? In order to obey the court decision, the National Congress needs to promote some law, and the President of the Republic some government decrees ruling that law in order to change or modify the borders of Colombia. Nevertheless, the political constitution establishes that the borders can be modified just by a treaty. What's a treaty? A contract or an agreement between two or more countries. A treaty approved by the National Congress and ratified by the President of the Republic. What is my solution? It's a simple legal solution. As a Colombian citizens, we have the political right to sue that law through the public action of unconstitutionality. And then, with the decision of the Constitutional Court, we can construct an argument of exemption in order to not apply the International Court provision. But what is this? What is the public action of unconstitutionality? Well, it's a legal resource any citizen has when he or she notices that a law is against the Constitution. That's because our political and legal order establishes that our Constitution is the fundamental law. Then are the laws, the common laws, and then the decrees. So if there is an agreement between a law, a common law, and the Constitution, the constitutional rule must prevail. As I said, the political constitution establishes that the borders can be changed just by a treaty, but the decision of the International Court is not a treaty, so it's unconstitutional. Of course, some lawyers will say this is wrong because the international law has two main principles. The first one, pacta sunt servanda, that is Latin for a contract, an agreement, is law for both parts. And the second one is that a country cannot invoke a violation of an internal law to disobey the international law. Of course, for this problem, there is another legal solution. The Vienna Convention, that is a general treaty that rules all the international treaties, establishes the two main principles of international law. But there is an exception. It says, Article 46, unless that violation, the violation of an internal law, was manifest and concerned a rule of international law of fundamental importance. As I said, the Constitutional is our fundamental law. So this is an exception to disobey with arguments, of course, the International Court provision. So, as you can see, for legal problems, there is always legal solutions. If you simply disobey the decision or the law, will be consequences. And these consequences are worse than the decision or the law itself. So, if any of you have any problem, any legal problem, please always call a lawyer. Thank you. Any questions?
How many people is necessary to make effective the suit?
Just one.
Just one?
This is difficult because any of you can sue that law, just you. But you don't have the knowledge of constitutional matters to sue the law. So that is a problem, but there is no requirements. You as a citizen can say this law is unconstitutional. So.
Okay, thank you.